Uno de los hallazgos pertenece a la joven Lisanne.
In March of 2014, two friends from the Netherlands, Kris Kremers, 21, and Lisanne Froon, 22, arrived in the town of Boquete, Panama. Both were adventurous and eager to take part in volunteer work, while also experiencing the beauty of Central America. The mountains and dense jungles of the region offered both challenge and wonder, and the two young women embraced the opportunity. On April 1st, they set out on a hike along the El Pianista Trail. The trail is known for its scenic views, winding from farmland into the misty cloud forest before disappearing deeper into the Panamanian wilderness. It was meant to be a day trip. But when the evening came, Kris and Lisanne did not return. At first, their absence was met with concern, and the search began. Local guides scoured the paths. Families and volunteers joined in, combing the area in hopes of finding a trace. Eventually, helicopters and dogs were brought in to cover the steep terrain. But day after day, the forest remained silent. The weeks passed, and still, no sign of the two women was found.
Lisanne Froon y Kris Kremers entraron por este sendero a eso de las 4 de la tarde según testigos. Es un área boscosa de ambiente fresco que enamora. Pasados 20 minutos, ya hay diferentes trochas.
But finally, more than 2 months later, a breakthrough came. A local woman discovered a backpack near a riverbank. Inside were belongings that confirmed it had belonged to Lisanne, her passport, a camera, and both women's phones.
Frente de la comunidad de Alto Romero encontraron un bolso y no se había visto ni la presencia de la autoridad, entonces nosotros procedimos a cooperar, a buscar, a ver si qué pertenencia podíamos hallar más. Y entonces la sorpresa de nosotros es que fuimos encontrando osamentas y los zapatillas.
Strangely, the contents were intact and relatively clean, despite being left in the jungle. And when investigators examined the camera, they found hundreds of photographs. The earliest images showed Kris and Lisanne smiling at the beginning of their hike, enjoying the scenery and each other's company. Later photos, however, told a different story. They showed the two deep in the forest, as if they had continued far beyond the trail's usual path. Some frames, taken at night, revealed little more than darkness, the flash, catching fragments of rock and foliage, leaving more questions than answers. Not long after, further discoveries were made. Pieces of clothing and bone fragments were recovered and later confirmed to belong to Kris and Lisanne. These finds marked a tragic end to the search, but did little to explain the full story of what had happened during their time in the jungle. To this day, the events surrounding their disappearance remain unresolved. Many questions linger, and the images left behind only deepen the mystery. What is clear, however, is that the forest had taken hold of their story, keeping much of it hidden. The case of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon stands as a haunting reminder of how quickly adventure can shift into tragedy, and how nature, vast, untamed, and indifferent, can hold secrets that may never be fully uncovered. From the silence of the jungle to the roar of the ocean, danger comes in many forms, sometimes hidden deep in the forest, other times waiting just above the waves. Hey, creepy community, I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm giving away $1,000 in cash to the ultimate creepy superfan. So, how can you enter? It's simple. Step 1. Subscribe to all 3 of my new channels, Horror Vids, Scary Vids, and Dark Vids. Step 2. Like the very first video on each channel. Step 3. Leave a creepy comment under every video I upload in the next 2 weeks. On the 8th of September, I'll choose one winner who's been the most active, the most supportive, and who's dropped the creepiest, most original comments. Want to win $1,000? Then leave your mark. Everywhere. Let's make it creepy. Let's make it legendary. Cliff jumping has always carried a certain allure. The rush of free fall, the surge of adrenaline, and the breathtaking view from above can make it feel like one of the purest thrills in adventure. At places like Crystal Cove in Southern California, the beauty of the coastline only adds to the temptation. But with that thrill comes risk. Unlike controlled dives or designated swimming areas, cliffs can hide dangers beneath the surface. Rocks, shallow water, or unseen currents that turn excitement into hazard in an instant and unpredictable, sometimes appearing the moment you least expect it. On March 22, 2020, an Uber driver in Washington, D.C. picked up a passenger and was preparing to merge into traffic. It was a routine moment, until suddenly, a stranger yanked open the front passenger door and climbed inside.
Good day, Ben.
Okay. Can I help you?
Where that money at?
You need to get out.
What? Man, what the f*** Stop paying me. Where that money at?
I don't have any money.
Stop paying me. Where's that? Right now. Get
I don't have
right
cash.
Now.
It's digital world, bro.
Man, give me your wallet.
I don't have it.
Give me your wallet. Right now. Give it to me.
In an instant, the man pulled out a gun and demanded the driver's wallet. For most people, the natural reaction would be to comply. After all, in situations like this, one wrong move can mean the difference between safety and tragedy. But this driver wasn't ordinary. A military veteran, he kept calm under pressure and chose a response that most would never attempt.
Right now. Give it to me. Bro, stop.
You gonna shoot me?
Give me that wallet.
Get the f*** out of here. You don't want to get shot. Come on,
Give me
man.
that wallet, bro.
No.
Bro, stop playing me before I hit you right here. Give me that wallet, bro. Thank God for you, man.
I got on my camera too.
Oh, look at you. Awesome. Not gonna lie, I'm super grateful for you right now.
Well, ex-military. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane.
Instead of giving in, he called the man's bluff. With his passenger still in the back seat, he slammed on the accelerator. The sudden burst of speed forced the would-be robber to bail out, fleeing before he could take anything. The driver's actions were undeniably risky, and it's important to remember that most experts advise cooperation in such moments. But in this case, his quick thinking and refusal to freeze may have saved both his and his passengers' lives. There isn't much follow-up available about what happened to the suspect afterward, but hopefully, law enforcement was able to identify him before he targeted anyone else. For now, this footage stands as a reminder of how quickly the ordinary can turn dangerous, and how one person's composure under pressure can make all the difference. But danger isn't always planned or intentional. Sometimes, it's just a matter of speed, timing, and how closely two lives cross paths on the road. Sometimes the difference between disaster and relief is no more than a fraction of a second. In this footage, two motorcycle riders take a curve, their focus on the road ahead. But then, out of nowhere, a car cuts sharply into the turn, rushing past and grazing dangerously close to one of the riders.
Porco Dio! Ma è un coglione assurdo! Porco Dio! Porco cielo! Porco Dio! Fermiamoci se vuoi! Ma è fuori di testa la gente!
It could have ended in catastrophe. One wrong angle, one lost balance, and the outcome would have been very different. But instead, the rider manages to keep control, steadying the bike and narrowly escaping harm. Moments like these remind us just how unpredictable the road can be, and how important it is for every driver, whether on 2 wheels or 4, to stay alert, share the space responsibly, and respect the speed and conditions. For the motorcyclist, this close call was a brush with danger that turned into a lesson. Sometimes luck plays a role, but awareness and quick reflexes can make all the difference. And speaking of accidents on the road, in the dead of night, the highway is one of the most dangerous places to be on foot. With cars and trucks moving at high speed, visibility is limited and reaction times shrink to almost nothing. The dashcam footage you're about to see captures exactly how tragic that reality can be. A truck, already slowing down as it approached an earlier incident on the road, suddenly encounters something unexpected: a woman walking in the middle of the highway. With barely a moment to react, the driver has no chance to avoid her. It's a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly danger can appear on the open road. Incidents like this highlight just how critical it is to stay in a safe place if you ever find yourself stranded on a highway. Standing in the roadway, even for just a few seconds, can put you at extreme risk. Always wait behind a barrier if possible, call for assistance, and never assume approaching drivers will see you in time. At night, especially, the risk multiplies. The footage is difficult to watch, but it carries an important lesson. Highways are unforgiving, and one wrong step can turn into tragedy. Sometimes danger comes from the open road, where visibility is fleeting and lives change in a second. Other times, it comes quietly, from behind the very walls of home. In the summer of 2023, Umar Abdullah and his family began to experience something they couldn't explain inside their Tampa, Florida apartment. Headaches came first, then nausea, burning eyes. Even their baby girl began refusing food. The air would sometimes carry a strange chemical odor, but building inspections revealed nothing. Desperate for answers, Umar installed a small hidden camera outside his front door, and what it captured would change everything. June 27, 2023. The camera revealed their downstairs neighbor, 36-year-old chemistry student Zhuming Li, crouched low with a syringe in hand. Slowly, deliberately, he injected liquid beneath the family's doorframe. Tests later confirmed the substance was a dangerous chemical mixture, a cocktail strong enough to cause severe illness and potentially life-threatening complications, especially for children. And investigators would discover this wasn't the first time. He had been doing it again and again, often when he knew the family was home. Authorities believe his actions stemmed from a grudge over everyday noise, the sounds of a child moving and playing above him. But, with his scientific knowledge and access to lab materials, he turned frustration into something far more sinister. Li was arrested and charged with multiple felonies. He was expelled from the University of South Florida and, before trial, deported back to China. The Abdullah family survived, but not without scars. Doctors continue to monitor their baby for possible long-term effects, and the trauma of discovering what had been happening just beyond their door will never fully fade. This case serves as a chilling reminder. The most dangerous threats don't always come from strangers far away. Sometimes they can be living directly beneath you. And while hidden threats can unfold in private, history has also shown us tragedies that play out in full view of the world, etched into memory by cameras, witnesses, and survival against impossible odds. On November 23, 1996, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 took off from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The route was scheduled to continue on to Nairobi, then across several African cities before reaching its final destination of Abidjan. On board was a Boeing 767-200ER, carrying 175 passengers and crew. The aircraft itself had only been in service for 9 years. Delivered to Ethiopian Airlines in 1987, it was well maintained and flown regularly across international routes. At the controls that day was Captain Lul Abate, a highly experienced pilot with more than 11,500 hours of flight time, alongside First Officer Jonas Makuria, who also had thousands of hours logged on the Boeing 757 and 767. By all accounts, the flight began routinely. But only a short time after departure, the course of the journey was dramatically altered. 3 men hijacked the plane, demanding to be flown to Australia in search of asylum. Captain Abate tried to reason with them, explaining the limitations of the aircraft, but their demands persisted. The 767 did not have the fuel capacity to cover such a distance, yet the hijackers refused to believe it. As the hours passed, the inevitable happened. The aircraft began to run out of fuel. Over the Indian Ocean, near the Comoros Islands, the engines finally gave out. With no power left, the crew faced a desperate situation. They would have to attempt something never successfully done before: the controlled ditching of a wide-body passenger jet. Captain Abate guided the plane toward the water, aiming for a narrow strip near Grande Comore. At 12:30 in the afternoon, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 struck the waves. The impact was catastrophic, breaking the aircraft apart as it skidded across the ocean surface. Coincidentally, a beach visitor was filming that day, capturing the harrowing moment on camera. A rare and chilling record of a wide-body aircraft ditching in open water. Here in late June, the town of San Juan Bautista in Mexico comes alive with celebration. The Fiesta is meant to honor tradition, music, food, and family gatherings that fill the streets with joy. But in 2023, that joy was shattered. What began as a night of festivities turned into chaos when violence erupted. Shots rang out, sending crowds scattering in panic. By the end, lives were lost, and the echoes of celebration were replaced by grief and disbelief. For many, the memory of that night has forever changed how the festival will be remembered. What should have been a celebration of culture and community became a stark reminder of the dangers that can lurk even in moments of joy. While investigators search for answers, one truth remains. In San Juan Bautista, the Fiesta of that year will be remembered not for music or tradition, but for the tragedy that unfolded under its lights. And perhaps most haunting of all are the tragedies that unfold where safety should be certain. In schools, where preparation and calm can mean the difference between life and loss. School shootings have become one of the most terrifying realities of modern life. For students and teachers, the classroom is supposed to be a place of learning and safety, not fear. Yet in moments like these, what matters most is preparation, awareness, and the ability to stay calm under unthinkable pressure. Over the past decades, schools have introduced lockdown drills. They may feel routine at the time, but when the unimaginable happens, those simple steps can save lives. Stay quiet. Stay hidden. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone unless you are absolutely sure it's safe. During one such incident, a class found themselves trapped in this exact scenario. The sound of footsteps and knocking echoed down the hall. The voice outside claimed to be the police, urging them to open the door. For a moment, fear collided with instinct. Was it really help or something else? What these students did next shows the importance of caution. They remembered their training. They stayed silent. They didn't open the door. And in doing so, they avoided walking straight into danger. That choice may have been the single reason they survived. This moment is more than just a story of fear. It's a reminder of resilience, of quick thinking, and of the importance of taking safety drills seriously. No one should ever have to face a situation like this. But when tragedy strikes, knowledge and preparation become the strongest defense. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, click to see more on the video on screen.